Hi there, my name is Nathan, and this is Welcome to the Human Experience. And today I'm joined by Leanne, and she is, as well as being a mum and a person of her own right, she is a Reiki practitioner, shadow worker, breath worker, and she also does group meditation and retreats, and also a bit of manifestation.
Yeah, workshops to do with manifestation.
Okay, brilliant. So I'd like to start off because I am a novice. I am a real novice in this kind of area, this field. What would you say for yourself? What is Reiki?
Energy healing, it's a form of energy healing. It's been around for obviously centuries. I think it was kind of brought back in Japan, and then it kind of made its way into the West. And it's more kind of like, you do work with the chakras and you work with like the universal energy life force. So me as a practitioner, I'm basically like a vessel, a channel, where I'll channel that life force energy into the client, into the person that's on their healing journey, and I work with spirit as well. So even though I am a Reiki master, teacher, I do spiritual healing as well. So I bring it all in there, and intuitive healing. And what it does is it just kind of, it sends that higher intelligence, sends that healing and what's needed to the person. And that can take many different forms and manifestations. And then, the healing's kind of done within the person themselves. So I am literally just a channel. And then if I see things or feel things, then I can bring that up at the end and we'll discuss and move forward from what the next steps of their healing process are.
Nice. And when you say there, so as a Reiki practice, you're channeling into their energy, or the energy.
So it's like the universal healing energy. So a lot of people, the thing is about Reiki, it's really hard, I find, to give an exact definition because it's so different for every single person. Everyone will have a different experience, which to me means that it is actually definitely a thing, because generally in life we all have different experiences. Some people, it will make them feel lighter. Some people, it will make them very emotional. Some people will help them sleep. Some people, it will bring things up to the surface to work through. Some people will have visions, sensations. Some people, it make them fall asleep. Everyone has something different. As I say, it's that kind of like universal intelligence that knows so much more than we do. That we kind of channel as practitioners to kind of do the healing. So as I say, even though we're classified as the healer, we are literally just the channel for that healing to take place through the universe. Whether you look at it as God, angels, however anyone wants to look at it, that energy and the person within themselves, it kind of, it's almost like a domino effect. It's like a seed where something will almost wake up or stir within them from that, where they will then usually go on some form of journey. That's what I find anyway.
I love that you said, it's kind of, to me, how you said that, I'm just trying to figure out in my own terms of like, it's tailored to that person. And I think the immediate thing I think of, because I've worked within the healthcare system, is that's one of the complaints I feel that people have. That
size fits all.
It really doesn't.
I'll have clients that have come and the initial thing is they're booking for Reiki, and then just before they come, something's like, we need to do something different. They'll come in, we'll start with the Reiki. I always get them to do breath work first, which is really, really helpful. And then other things will come up. I'll be like, okay, I need to get them to do visualization, or I need to get them to do, which I didn't know what it was at the time. Now I know it's got a name, but it just came very natural. As I say, I believe I'm guided, would be like somatic movements and breath work, which is like releasing trauma, mainly from the hip areas. So I'll do a lot of that, and then pulling things, which sounds weird, pulling stagnant energy out and getting them to breathe it out. Working with the chakras to realign them, ground them, open their third eye, all of that lovely stuff. And then we'll have a conversation, and I usually get like messages or things come through. We'll have a conversation. It's 99.9% that it gets confirmed that that's the fact, that's what's going on. And then we kind of look at, how do we move this forward and go from there. It is genuinely the beginning of something. It's not like you go and you get a quick fix or you get a pill, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, because of the way society is built, is you just go and you get a pill and it numbs it.
Yeah.
Reiki is more of a no, you're going to feel it. We're going to bring it up so you can say hello to it, make peace with it, and then work through it.
Wow. Sounds like getting to the root of the problem. Yeah, basically. That's what I say with one of my friends. So, okay, we're going to talk a bit more about that. I really like that. But I want to talk a bit about your backstory as well, to say that, I don't know about yourself, but for myself, I'll be honest, I am a bit skeptical of certain practices, growing up at least. Yes. But as I've got older, I've come round to them things.
Yes.
So going back to yourself, it's like, what has brought you to this place? You know, Leanne as a teenager, as the early 20s, was you already in that place or you got there kind of thing?
So when I look back and things that have been said through my mum and other family members, it's always been there with me. The more spiritual side of it, as in me saying things are going to happen and they happen, me having dreams and it happening.
Okay.
Or there's like a story where my, I think I was probably about not even 2, my mother's nan, so my grandma, had passed and was buried, and you know when they're buried but there's no gravestone. And they brought the person to come and find out where she was buried, and I just toddled off. I was like, look, nanny, and knew exactly where she was buried. I was like, what? Yeah, and there were little things like, I go, is so-and-so pregnant? And they were pregnant but weren't telling anyone. I had a dream about my granddad passing away, and then he passed away. There was always little things and just very intuitive things, and I always felt things around me and saw things, but I think then I loved anything that like Wickery to do with witchcraft, not bad witchcraft, the white stuff, you know, the light stuff like the plants and the herbs and the medicines and stuff. But I think growing up where I grew up, you felt like a bit weird. Now I love being weird. I think being weird's the best thing ever. But then I was like, I felt like a bit of an outcast. So I kind of shunned that about myself and kind of shut it down. But then when I was a teenager, I was not brought up in any religion. I started to take myself to Sunday school and took myself to church. And at first it felt right because I could feel that I knew there was something bigger. But then as I went down that journey, I realised it wasn't for me. Christianity just wasn't for me. I just felt that it was, how do I word this? Very boxy, like you're in a box, where I felt like it was so much more than that. So then I kind of started looking into things more, but kind of like not really going into it, just having that belief that there's a higher purpose and that we're all connected and stuff. And then it took me to go through a few traumatic experiences in life to a point where I'd had to go to the doctors. Basically I'd had a breakdown. I'd gone to the doctors and they straight away gave me take a pill. After 2 days of taking these tablets and it not feeling correct for me, I'm very sensitive to chemicals and medication. Paracetamol makes me feel ill. It just didn't feel okay for me, so I had to stop taking those after 2 days and decided to look for alternatives. And then that's when I found like meditation, and then it kind of like snowballed from there.
And was there someone involved in you finding that process, like, or was you looking?
I was just looking everywhere, online a lot as well. So I started doing it with myself, and then this thing came about Reiki. I hadn't really heard of it before, and I was like, oh, that looks really interesting. I'd like to go and have that done for me. But was very skeptical. But mine wasn't that I didn't believe in it. Mine was more, it has to be the right person, because I was so, now I realise, understanding, but then fearful of the wrong energies connecting. That I found it very important that I'll be aligned with that person, and that person it just be the right energy that's being used with me, basically, because I've always been very sensitive. And then it took 2 years of me asking the universe to show me the correct person, and that person came along. Had my first Reiki energy healing, which she always says was one of the craziest healing sessions she's ever done with me. She had a lot of spirit coming through.
Wow.
Then from there, I decided I wanted to further my own journey of healing. So that's when I decided to do the attunement. So you have your Reiki attunements.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have 1, 2, and then your 3 is like your master teacher. So I've got all of them.
Nice.
Your first one's more for your own healing. Your second one is for your own healing, but you can go and use that to work with that.
Yeah.
And then the third one's for you to teach other people it. So I had the first one done for my own healing purposes. And then it was a friend that was like, can we do number 2? And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. She's like, please come with me. So I was like, okay. So I booked on it. She ended up having to cancel.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up going on my own. Went in and I was like, I'm only going to do the first half. She was like, well, because I'm not going to do it on anyone else. It's just for my own healing journey. And she was like, okay. And just looked at me and I was like, don't look at me like that. So I was like, I'm just going to do the first part. So I did the first part. And then she was like, okay, we'll go home and just practice it. Just practice it. So I was like, okay. So I got people that knew people, so I didn't know anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
Started doing it on people, having all these messages coming through, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this coming through into my head?
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I need to say it to the people. And I say it to the people thinking either I'm making it up or I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And I was saying these things and they were like, how did you know that? I was like, I really don't know. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should do the second part, but I'm still not going to do it. It's just because then I've done it then.
Yeah.
Went to do, you had to like a little test. And I said, oh, do you mind if I practice it on you? Did it. She sat up and she went, you don't need to do the test. She was you can do it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, still didn't do it though. Still held it on the side, like, no, I'm not going to do it, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
It took for me to go through a process at work of having to leave that job for me to be like, okay, I'm going to start my own business. But I was right until the last minute really reluctant.
I feel like the way you've said that, it's kind of nice though for your clients to know that you've done that whole journey. Like you needed it, and then I imagine when you're being a practitioner that you can relate to what they're going through. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So a lot of my clients have been through similar things to them, especially the trauma that happened in my life. Obviously, I had a few different things, but the major one that was the catalyst for that, you know, they call it a breakdown, but I think it was my awakening. I feel sometimes you have to break down to build yourself back up. It's always like you have to lose yourself to find yourself. And I know it sounds really cheesy, but once you go through that moment, it's so true. It's kind of like, you know, that whole turning lead into gold. That's exactly what it is. So what I've done is all my heartache and trauma and lessons, I've took all of that, and rather than just feeling like a victim and bad, or, you know, I've turned it into gold to now be able to help other people on their journey and guide them. And I think I do find that because I can relate, I can understand them and truly see them, and I think it gives a bit more of a depth to the healing. That's what I find, and a lot of my clients say back to me. I think, you know, it's better. I think it's like anything. I think if you're going through something, it's one thing to go to a person that has no idea how that feels, but they've read a book and got a degree. But it's different to go to a person that actually has been there and got through to the other side and is still having ups and downs today, and saying that's the human experience and it's okay. But when we get that negative feeling and that thought, we don't bypass it. We say hello to it, and then we just reframe it and then look at, you know, actually what is beautiful about life, and how do I turn this, some of the hardest times of my life, into my power of resilience. And I think it kind of resonates a lot with my clients.
Nice. So, and do you feel, because I've never really thought about that till I'm talking to you now, that what was it then now, if you look back, of you being that little girl and realising these things, like from really, really young, from 2 even, what was that? Do you ever, is there something, or in the family, or what, is there something?
Apparently, the grandma that I was like, she's there. Apparently, everyone used to call her a white witch. Everyone used to say she was very spiritual and used to know things, and you know that she was a bit, you know, weird and different. So apparently, I've got it through my mother's lineage. I've always felt I'm not special, I'm not different. Every single one of us, if you look at a child, when they're talking away, they're not talking to themselves. They're aware, they're so intuitive. Children are so, your little one, I've been around your little one, and he's come out with things and you're like, you've been here before. Like, that is an old soul. Like, how would you know that? Like, we are so much bigger than this meat vessel that's sitting here. We are a soul, we are infinite possibility. It's just, we have to remember. So it's not necessarily learning, it's remembering, and that's why with a lot of my clients, I get them to remember themselves. Because 9 times out of 10, you have the answer within you. It's just whether your imposter syndrome's getting involved, whether it's your, there's a block because of trauma, so you've put a block on there. I'm more of the key to unlock.
I like that. And because I was coming from a skeptical place, I try and think of answers for myself, as well. And what I came to was, I always come up with, my missus will be laughing, because I always come up with like metaphors or some kind of thing that I can link a pattern.
Like an analogy.
And it's for, say you have a lad, I'll use lad as an example, and his dad is a footballer and he becomes a footballer. No one questions that. They're like, oh no, that skill, he's probably more likely to have it. So like with your grandma, if she was a white witch and she was that way, you're more likely to have it because you have that talent within your genes or spirit or whatever you want to say, the lineage of your family. And that even when I say to energy for you practicing it, I'm like, there's all an actor that we love, like a Denzel Washington or, a singer like an Adele. They're tuning into their thing, I feel. Do you get me? Because everyone can try and act, but why are they better? Everyone can sing, but some can do it better.
A lot of creatives, it's coming from somewhere else. It's not actually coming from the person. And that's not to downplay anybody, but most of the knowledge and information that's out there is literally floating around in the ether. We just have to open up and take it. That's the beauty of it. I think... Am I allowed to go conspiracy theory or? Okay,
I don't even believe in that. I just think it's a theory.
Definitely. I think that the way society is set up is to not let us know our power. So I think that's why I kind of turned away from religion a little bit, because it's more Gnosticism that I'm in alignment with, which is the original teachings of Jesus, which is empowerment in the self, God consciousness within, that we all have that within us and others. And I think that to keep certain people here and certain people here, it is better for us to not be aware of just how powerful we are as an individual, and if we all come together as well. So that's why I do a lot of, am I allowed to? That's why I do a lot of circles and a lot of women's empowerment circles, and where we bring our power together, and it's all very positive and believing in each other and building each other, and that self-love, because I think not everything, but majority of things out there are to make us feel disempowered or not good enough or like we're not whole, so we need to buy stuff, and it's all a whole...
I'm with you, and I don't even think, I don't know what your term is, but I think when people say we're becoming more awake and more aware, it's just that we've lived in persecution. So whether that be a black person or a woman, in society or the class system.
It's in everything.
They're all there, isn't it?
It's in species, let's be honest. It's in class, it's in male, female, it's in, if you've got a learning difficulty, it's anything that they can oppress us and put us in a box and keep us down. They will do it. And it's just that simple. And even those, if we want to go really deep, even those that are doing that, they're channeling spirits, but they're not the spirits that I'll be working with.
Wow. I've got you.
I won't work with those spirits.
What I would love as well, there's a Terence McKenna speech where he talks a lot about psychedelics and taking them and all this kind of thing. And he terms that, what you were saying there with the other side, I'm thinking, how can I access them, as in the higher ups? And my thing is, what I would love to do is, and even for yourself to do, is be in contact with them, because there's such a divide in the class, in the wealth system, and therefore you don't meet people in and outside of your own class necessarily or high up. We never, as Terence McKenna said, get near the levers. which is the people that can make the difference. You know, they're putting all their energy into something dark or into keeping power. And it's like, if you just opened up to us, the everyday person, man and woman, you'd realize we're all in it together. And if you make the poor and the persecuted downtrodden, the world's going to be a worse place, because they're in a bad place. So there's going to be the stabbings, there's going to be the robberies, you know what I mean? But if you uplifted them...
It's the intention. So obviously, what I have to say this to a lot of my clients as well, sometimes when we try and understand why other people do things, the reason you can't is because you're not them, which is a good thing. It's like, the way your thought process is working is because you're coming from a good place. You're coming from, okay, we could have equality, we could have this beautiful world, which we could.
I like that.
We could, but not everyone's the same as you. Not everyone sits there and thinks like that, or they do think that, they don't want that. And as hard, another thing that I've realised as well, going through life, I was always that person that tried to see the best in everybody. And everyone's got goodness, and everyone's through this, and it's because they've been through that, and blah, 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 hence the kind of men that I used to attract. I was the healer. Oh, come here, broken bird, I'll fix you. Got me into a lot of trauma. Some people, they just don't want to. There are people that are living unconsciously and making poor choices, which we all have. If anyone ever came to me, I would never sit there and make out like I'm perfect. I still make mistakes now. I'm still doing my own healing. There's things in my past that I'm not overly, happy about, but I also won't feel the guilt and shame anymore, because that's just the weight also. And that's its own imprisonment. So I don't encourage that. You have to forgive others and forgive yourself in this world. There are people that even if you could show them, they just don't want to.
And that's good, because that's
being... It's a fear.
It's
being
a fear,
open
it's
an
to
insecurity,
that.
it's a fear. Like a lot of, it's a buzzword now, narcissism, it does come majority from childhood trauma, but it is more like them holding on to that insecurity mask and covering up their shame, and they won't want to do it because they'd rather project. So it's like, you can't heal everybody. I would love to sit here and say you can, and there was a moment in my life where I believed you could, but I genuinely now, I could be wrong, don't feel that you can heal everybody. You can heal, because I'm not a healer, you can help people on their healing journey who want to, and it's free will, and that's okay. That's part of this world, is free will. If someone does want to do it, great. If they don't want to do it, wish them love and light and let them carry on their journey.
Nice. Wow, that's such an open thing, because I think we rarely do that in life, of letting someone be themselves, even if it's to your detriment, liking or not, or detriment.
The thing is, I think trying to be the saviour all the time can get you into some problems, and it's like, I know this from my personal experience, it's like, and sometimes we think we're doing it from a good place, and the initial outlook is you are doing it from a good place, but when you go all the way back to your root reason of doing it, everything's transactional in this world, and sometimes it is control, because you want to control that person, and not in a malicious way, but it's like you want to make sure that they're doing good and they're not going to hurt other people. That's still control. That's still you wanting things to happen a certain way. That's not how life works. That's you're just basically banging your head up a wall. It's like, that's their journey. That is their journey. And if you want to go on a deeper level, we signed soul contracts to come here and what kind of life we're going to experience, and picked our parents and this, that and the other, and almost like as well, if you do believe, which I do believe in reincarnation, we come here in different vessels. So as a man, as a woman, as a rich, as a poor, we come in different things to learn what we need to learn from that moment. So you might be a beautiful soul in this life. You could have been an absolute arsehole 5 lifetimes ago. I could have been an absolute bitch. Do you know what I mean? I probably was, because I have my moments. But it's like, that person might be on their first lifetime, and they're more animalistic, less evolved. Just because someone is older than us, looking at us like our age, or is more successful in a certain way, doesn't mean that they're actually more developed on the journey of the soul journey. That's the difference. That's why you will meet people that are really young and you're like, oh my God, how are you so wise? And you can meet older people that are so mature and bratty, and I'm a victim. And it's just because, yes, they've been through hardships, but you can get two people that have been through exactly the same thing. One will turn it into something amazing and be the best person in the world, and one will be an arsehole.
Yeah.
And it's got to be coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
They've had the same upbringing, the same life, the same parents. Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
You're bringing through the stuff from past life and other traumas, and there's a lot more to it.
Yeah,
it's a lot more in depth than we even have the time to understand. It takes lifetimes.
Nice. You're always learning,
This is the 3D Earth School.
Nice. No, I like that. And like I say, that just going back to that thing of a singer or an actor, they're channeling that energy. It's the same way in a negative way. Someone can be living in a bad place of being an abuser or doing something bad because that's their thing. Much as we love the Denzel Washington and Adele, there's people that are great at doing bad things, if you get what I mean. And like you say, maybe they're just living that life. And I'm kind of coming around to seeing that.
Yeah.
Why are these people that you know, your clients and that, why are they coming to you generally? What kind of things because I know nothing about Reiki, what would they come?
All different reasons. I get a lot of people that, especially a lot of women who are coming out of something abusive, and that can be physical, mental, emotional, whatever, that are coming out of a relationship and they're struggling to let go, whatever it is, that will come to me with like anxiety or their head's not in a great place. We'll start with the Reiki because they want something different. They've gone and they've had, you know, the surgery and this and the that, and nothing's really working for them. So they're looking at alternatives. They'll come, we'll do the Reiki, it will make them feel better. I'll say things to them that resonate, and then a lot of them, we start a journey and we'll do the shadow work and looking at. So you want me to talk about shadow work?
Yeah.
So shadow work is, it's Carl Jung that actually termed that the shadow self. So shadow work is basically anything that we keep in the shadow that we don't like to shed light on. So that could be certain behaviours of ourselves, certain parts of our psyche that we don't particularly like or want other people to know. It can also be like trauma. I'll look at it as like but even though it's in the shadow, it's always there, it's always lurking, and it's always coming up some way, shape or form. Whether it's like you've just reacted to something that makes absolutely no sense, and then actually if you sit with that, you'd realise it was from something like 10 years ago. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've had that trauma in childhood, because some people have amazing childhoods and then have trauma as a teenager or as an adult, and then they'll have that shadow self as well. It can be, so it's like a child, right? You've got a toddler and it's like they're trying to speak to you, they're trying to get your attention because they've got something to say, and you're like, 1 minute, shh, 1 minute, shh, 1 minute. Eventually it's going to throw something, it's going to kick off, it's going to have a tantrum, it's going to be seen and heard. You're not going to shut it up and just eventually, obviously if there's abuse involved, that's a different story, but just to use it as an analogy, the shadow self is exactly the same. So it's a part of you that's like, well, you're not just going to box me off over here, I'm going to pop up and let you know that I'm still here and you do need to deal with me. Because I think a lot of us, what we do when we go through certain things, we box it off, put it away, I'll deal with it later. No, I'm over that. Well, I'm over the person from that relationship. Yeah, you're over the person, but are you over the relationship? Are you over the toxicity of that relationship? Do you know what I mean? There's always something that we're putting down, stamp it down, put it in a box, put a lid on it, I'll deal with it later. And it can manifest in so many different ways. It can come out as behaviours, toxic behaviours, drinking, drugs, gambling, whatever that looks like. It can come out in physical ailments and illnesses. As I know, for a long time they tried to make out that the mind, body and soul were different. It's all one. Everything manifests. If you don't deal with your emotional and your mental, your physical will be hurting. You will be having issues physical. You'll have back pains. You'll have all these things.
Just like holding it in.
You'll be holding it in the trauma. You'll be holding that into your body. That's why it's really good, the breath work and movement, to release that. And it's almost like shining light on that and accepting it and showing it love. It's almost like, okay, you want my attention, what is it you want to say to me? Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, then off you go. If that child's happy and buzzing, then it's like, oh yeah, I've had my little attention, I'm off, I'm going to go play now, I forgot about it. So it's like, you've got to give it that attention, you've got to give it that nurturing, you've got to give it that love, you've got to give it that compassion. And a lot of us are too busy to do it, or let's be really honest, a lot of people, especially unfortunately men, are told you don't feel your feelings, you know, you put your emotions away, you be a man and you man up, and it's like, okay, well, if that's the case and we don't do emotions, why are so many men punching in walls? Like, that's emotions.
Or the biggest killer of men under 45, I think it is. Yeah, because they're not letting it out, they're holding it in.
It's a shame.
It
really is a shame.
Yeah.
I think that if, as a society, we felt like we were able to be vulnerable, not weak, vulnerable and open, society would be so much better. Life would be so much better. Our relationships would be so much better. We'd be happier. We'd be at peace. But then again, they don't want that either.
So you're working mainly with women?
Mainly. I do work a lot. I do work with men. Okay, so let's get into this then. I was going to stay away from this, but let's get into it.
Yeah.
So I do work with men.
Yeah.
Majority of men that come to me want to lie down, get the Reiki, and then just walk out and be fixed. I'm just going to be really honest. Women are more open to be like, okay, let's work through this. Okay, yeah, I want to heal. I want to do better. I want to be the best version of myself. Men, not so much. They do eventually, because I'll tell them something. This is a thing as well. I didn't realise this. I'll tell them something. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, they'll go. A few months later, I come back. Oh, I realised this about myself. I'm like, did you?
Good. Well,
it's funny because I said that to you. But I'm glad you discovered that for yourself.
Yeah.
That's a thing. I didn't realise it was such a thing, but I've realised how much of a thing that is, that men just can't. Not all men, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's the general
thing. A lot of men cannot be told something or don't want to accept it. And then it's like they discovered it. I'm like, that's fine. It doesn't, no ego, it's fine. If it's brought you back to work on it, great, let's get cracking.
As a man, and you know that obviously, but I'm just saying, as a man, we know that that's how society wants us to be in our minds, you know what I mean? So we suppress it so much that you tapping into it, you've already noticed that pattern of women can do it much more openly and men struggle, but hopefully you work with them to get past that. And then what do you find? Is it a similarity then of like, they've opened up and they're getting the same kind of they're getting over it.
We can get a little bit deeper. It's a much slower process because it's almost like they'll let you in a little bit and then a little bit and then a little bit and then a little bit. Whereas a woman was like, oh my God, let's just do it. Let's get it over and done with. I'll cry, I'll do it all. Yeah. It's a lot harder with men. I find the breath work's really good with men.
Okay. Probably because it's more just an actual thing to do.
It's a physical thing to do.
And
have you ever heard of holotropic breath work? No. Conscious connected. So basically, I've done holotropic. I can do that as well with other people. It's something I'm working up to there because it's very, very intense, the holotropic. I do the trauma release with breath. As well. But it's kind of like you go into like a bit of an altered state. So we can produce DMT. It's within us.
Yeah, I've heard about
that. The breath. So it's kind of like a psychedelic experience, but it's not a psychedelic experience. It's within us. That just shows you that it's all natural. If it's in us, it's natural. And it's like you kind of get into a bit of an altered state, so it relaxes you and it activates a trauma release. So as I say, we all saw a lot of trauma. So for men, it's a way that they can release emotions, but because this kind of forward state takes over, it's a bit of it kind of takes control a little bit, so they kind of have to let go. Does that make sense? Rather than them being, okay, let go, relax and be vulnerable. Absolutely not. But because you started doing this breath work, she's manic. Oh yeah, big breath. And then it comes over and they're like, oh my God, what the hell just happened to me? It's kind of too late then. Do you know what I mean? But they just know I feel better about the situation afterwards. And I think that once they've done something like that, and they can see the release and the relief and that peace, they're more likely to then go on a journey. Because they need that physical evidence of something happening. But that they're in control, but then the control has to kind of be taken away from them, but without them knowing. And then it's kind of like, oh my God, that feels really good.
No, I like that. I like that you've noticed the differences there.
There's a difference.
And what would you say for the men and the women that you work with, like for people who are interested in considering, you know, doing this to help themselves? What are they getting to in the end? Where's the ultimate goal?
I don't think anyone will ever be 100% healed. I don't think that's the aim, and I think if that's the aim, I think you're just setting yourself up for something. I think it's freedom and peace, and self-love, because I think we all have, and this is another thing about men, a lot of men come for the Reiki for the relaxation, or where I take a lot of weight off their shoulders. I have to work a lot on the shoulders with men, because they're carrying a lot of pressure and stress, and to provide, and to this, and to be the man, and and all of that, and their head's constantly whizzing and going. And a lot of men come because it will help them sleep for a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something
basically.
to get them through.
Yeah, to get them through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. What was the question again? See, I've got
like when are they? Where are you aiming to get that person or yourself to get them to?
Okay, so
not 100% healing, but loving themselves.
So it's where they want to get to, where they're open to get to, and I don't really look at it as an end goal per se. I'll say, okay, this is what I feel like we should work on. But even with that, so I'll have like clients that come like every week, and I'll say, okay, so next week I think we should work on this. However, that's 7 days away. If something happens, and we have to, because the healing journey is not linear. You go up, down, round, back. It goes all over the place, basically. So I have to be open to that. I can't stay rigid with it, which is what I like about the more going with the flowy. Whereas some, how would you put it, like places you can go to heal or counselling or stuff, it's very kind of like we're set to a programme. I don't think that's, I think you do have to have some kind of format, but I think you have to kind of go with it. So I'll have people and we're going to work on this, and then something will happen and we'll have to deal with that right at that time because it's took you off course, and that's okay, because we will get to that, but it will be the right time for that.
Nice.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It's a complicated thing,
It's very complicated. I just very much go with the flow, and I'll be honest with you, there's sometimes, especially when I first started doing it, where they're showing me, yes, they are showing, my guides are showing me things that I need to do, and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm crazy. But I'll just be like, just go with it, Leanne. So I'll be like, okay, we're going to do visualisation, and I'll talk them through, and I'll get them to like really relax, and then I'll talk them through like a guided visualisation where they meet themselves and do this and cook. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'll just say it to them. I'm like, but I just feel this is the right thing to do. And then they'll have this release, and they'll get up and they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. I'm like, thank you. Because I don't know where they're sometimes I don't know where they're sending me. And like I'll see like visions and stuff, and they'll show me things, and I'm saying it to that person thinking, they're going to think I'm off my rocker. But it's always like, and I'm like, oh, thank God for that.
So obviously within yourself, what I'd say there is there must be a bit of self-doubt. Because it's unknown territory all the time, but you get there, so I think that will give you confirmation.
Got better at the believing in my connection, not necessarily me, but the connection, and like the messages that have come through, because I'll feel emotions. I will feel that person's emotions. At the beginning of this journey of me helping other people on their healing, it was really a lot, and it was intense, and it would drain me, and I'd take on those emotions, but I have got better with being able to, okay, I can feel it, now please take it away because it's actually not mine, and being able to step back from that. I do, so I also go to a psychic development thing, a circle, and when spirits come through, I'll feel how they died. And I'll actually feel one time I actually feel like I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was being choked, and so I have that come through as well. So it can be very intense, but it's learning to work with them and know when to step back. So I've got the information, now let me step back. It's not actually my thing to take on here, and that's where sometimes it can be a bit messy, because you can get a little bit kind of too intertwined with it. So you need to be able to feel it, to understand it, but not take it on. And it's that balance and that thin line that takes a bit of time to get used to.
No, I like how you said that, because I was going to say that and you answered it already to say who helps the guide. But like you said it, you've learned not to take it on as much, and therefore they get to their place and you can let that go then, which is brilliant. And I guess they kind of get, the way I'm thinking of it, I always think of it in I'm not saying it's simplistic, but a term to relate, again, as a skeptic, is like, imagine asking a driving instructor, how do you get your students through? Everyone has a different path. 100%. Some can do a 3-point turn, some struggle on the motorway. you know,
we
some
all have different learning. So you've got like, you know, even when I do actually have a primary school teaching degree as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not going into it, but yeah, I do.
Oh.
And it's like you had to differentiate the lessons because you've got your kinesthetic learners, you've got your auditory, you've got all the different kind of, and it's basically like, it has really come into help, especially when I do my work with children. Like that degree, I was like, well, why did I do that? And I'm like, it's really coming actually into this area as well, as helping me understand that everyone's different. Everyone needs a different approach. Everyone will learn differently. Everyone will, you know, you have to cater for that person. What I love is that because I do get to feel people's energy straight away, is I kind of know because they're telling me. Not just because I'm amazing, but I know I can, as I was saying off camera earlier, you know, some people need that straight, sharp shooting, which I'm very good at. I used to be too good at it. Your wifey will tell you I've got better. At being a bit softer sometimes. And then I'll have other people, I'm like, no, I need to tread a bit more carefully. But different styles. But to a degree however, I am me, and this is how I do my healing as well, because I don't ever want to not be my authentic self either. It's like honouring them, but honouring myself and having that boundary as well. And if I ever come across anyone where I feel like it's going to be too much to be able to get messages through to them, then for me, I would always put out that maybe they should go to someone that's more in alignment with their way of learning. Because I am very much like, I will tell you the truth. As I say, my delivery's a lot better now, but I will always tell you the truth, and not everyone's ready for that, which is fine. That's their journey, but we're just not in alignment to work together. There's enough of us.
Try a different. And what I said to you as well off camera was the fact that I love that you've reached that level of self-awareness, because not many people can kind of not judge necessarily, but understand themselves and how they're coming across. That takes a lot to come outside of yourself in a sense and look down and say, how am I being perceived by other people? What am I giving off? And I think through you learning that, you're just becoming a more, I don't know how they term it, but like a master or a higher level of practitioner or whatever, because you're able to say, I'm still learning. I can help you guys, but I've been on a journey as well, 100%. Which is amazing. I'm still, we're always on a journey. Every single one of us is on a journey. And I always say to my clients, if anyone ever comes to you as a guru that has all the answers, that knows everything, that's fully healed, that never gets angry, run. Because they're lying. There's something wrong
it's
there,
not a thing. It's not a thing. I'm sorry, it's not a thing. And the ones that are really calm are probably in some monastery somewhere with no one bothering them.
So you're not getting a true reflection.
It's not a true reflection. I think it's one thing to be zen in a zen environment and be zen in the chaos. It's a very different thing. We could all go and do our spiritual journey and be all in the mountains, and it's beautiful, and honestly I'd go tomorrow. However, what am I bringing then to the rest of the world? What's the point? Do you know what I mean?
I feel
if
like
that's
you're turning
their journey,
the back
that's their journey. But
I
agree. I think we're here for so much more, and I think we're here to get nitty and gritty and get down in the dirt with people.
Tell me a little bit of, okay then, we'll go on that thing of, as a society, why do you think, in a wider context, you're dealing with individuals and groups, but obviously there's a thing going on there because there's a conveyor belt of people coming to you or other people throughout the world. Why? What do you think it is? Even if you think it's a bit of a conspiracy, what is it? Is it a certain age, a certain time?
I just think there's so many different reasons. I think we're just disempowered to our own. So when I work, most of my Saturday mornings are dedicated to children that come to me from the age of 5 upwards, and we do breath work, and it's getting them, giving them a tool of the breath to be able to calm down, to let go, to reframe things, to look at gratitude, to look at what makes them happy, to understand their emotions, and that it's okay to talk about it. We should be taught this.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're not.
It's not being passed on,
For a
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
We should be taught this.
Yeah.
The power that we all hold within is stamped out through the system, basically.
Nice.
For a reason.
Yeah.
And it is for control.
Yeah.
It's for control.
Yeah, it's a sad case, isn't it?
It is
but
a sad
what
case.
then? Do you feel we're coming out of it with people approaching you?
1,000%. It's like I have a really love-hate relationship with technology. Sorry. But it's like I've really hated it, and I'm getting more on board with it to the point that I even told my son to go and do networking and cyber security at college, which I never thought I'd do.
Yeah.
Because I'm realising that we can use this to our power as well as getting those messages across, as much as there's this pull with, you know, the AI and the whole control and surveillance that they're trying to do at the moment, like they've been trying to do it for ages. If we spread these messages and we talk about these things and we plant these seeds, and more and more and more and more people wake up and realise their own divinity and their own power, which they are, it will end.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, okay, here we go. The reason they say that we have, we can't vote, don't get me on the voting system, but they make out that our vote matters. It really doesn't, because they're all puppets to the people above. It doesn't matter who comes in, they're going to be doing their things anyway. It's a stage. It's a stage. It's a false sense of choice so that we don't rebel. It's almost like, well, when we don't give them it, they rebel and they fight against the system and they try and blow the government up, for example. But it's like, if we make them think that it's up to them and there's democracy, then they'll just stay in their happy little bubble, in their happy little world, and we'll just move things around and do distractions, and they'll have no idea of it. But more and more of, you know, people that are coming in with the purpose to awaken and heal other people are coming in. Like, you know, you've got like your starseed, your rainbow, your children, all of... we've got that's a different story. So you've got all these souls that are coming in to fuck shit up, to cause chaos, to like absolutely not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not having that.
And they're the rebellious ones. I wasn't naughty, but when I used to get into trouble, it would be because I was like, no, I'm having an opinion. Every time my mum got a phone call, she'd be like, what has she done? Well, she's had an opinion and said something back. My mum's like, okay, that's fine, she's allowed to. Put the phone down. If I'd done something, I was in trouble. I was getting whooped. But if it's me having an opinion and standing up for myself, my mum's, don't phone my phone. She's an individual, she's allowed to have that. I've always been that, I'm going to have something to say. It was more rebel without a cause when I was younger, but now I've kind of fine-tuned it into, let's actually put it into a purpose, a bigger purpose. And I think that's the difference. You get a lot of people that don't know what to do with it, but they want to fight something because they can feel that oppression and that suffocation. But they don't know what to actually, they're just like, you know, like a loaded gun going everywhere. But I think the more now that they have access to, this is why I feel like this is why this doesn't feel right to me. It's because there is something wrong. Let's all come together and change it. That's the thing, we're like this, for example, going out there, the right people will find this and then now talk to someone else and then now talk to someone else, and the more people that wake up, and I think that's why they're amping everything up at the moment with the oppression, with the control, with the COVID and all that, and the chemtrails and I think they're amping it up because they know the end's coming, so they're trying to get everything they can before we pull it from underneath them. That's what I truly believe. And it's as much as there is darkness out there, there's always duality, there's dark and light. Darkness is always outshone by light. If you've got a dark room, you turn on a light, darkness is gone. And they know that. And that's a true analogy to how this works.
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to that time.
We've been our kids' generation, not us.
Or not then,
No, but we're the ones that are helping them. We're breaking the generation. We're breaking the cycles. We're the cycle breakers. We're the cycle breakers, and this is what I do with a lot of more clients. I'm like, you are going to break the cycle. You've had that kind of childhood from your parents because they had it from their parents and they had it from their parents. We're not going to guilt and shame them. They knew no better, you know, blah blah blah. Now we're going to stop it so we don't put that onto our children, and then our grandchildren and our ancestry and our lineage will be better.
Nice.
So it's important.
As probably a kind of final thought of like, if someone is listening and they're curious and they're wondering about how can they go about, you know, contacting yourself or someone that does that within their area, within their, like, you know, country or whatever, what would you say? What would you say for them to try and do? Just find a practitioner in their area?
I would always put out that they will find the correct person for them and for their greatest good, and just have a look around, be open, just be open to it. And I love when I get people that are like, oh, you know, I just want to try, I don't know if I believe in it, and it's always them that when they come and they're like, okay, I believe in it now. Do you know what I mean? I love a challenge. So I'm like, okay, well, you're going to believe in it by the end of this. So it's like, it's all over. There's always Instagram, Facebook that I've got people that do it. You've got YouTubers. You can Google and find local places that do like Reiki energy healing and breath work and things like that. It's so out there now. I do think it is, if it feels correct for you, go with it. Because sometimes I think it has to be the right time. It's like the same with anything. You have to get that message at the correct time for it to actually. Do you know what I mean? And don't go with too much expectation. Oh, it's going to be like this, and it's going to. Everyone's experience is different, and some people are so more open to the healing. They will have a deeper healing session. If you're closed off and like, no, I don't believe in it, the healing's not going to go that deep. Because you're closed. Your energy's like, do you know? You're like this. How's it gonna?
And how can they follow your journey? What's your page? You're on Instagram, right?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I am starting a YouTube.
And your title?
So it's LMS. So my initials, Leanne Michelle Saul. So LMS Healing. So on Facebook, it's LMS.healing. And on Instagram, it's LMS_healing.
Oh, nice. And I'll put up a screenshot of your own pages and stuff like that anyway. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people out there about healing and going through that, and something that you've noticed and something to maybe bear with?
Just that, stick with it. It's almost like, the analogy that I use with the healing process, it's kind of like, so you've got the banks. You've got a bank, you know, like the banks with a river. So you've got a bank, but the river is mud. So it's like you've come off the one side because you can see, okay, there's healing, there's freedom, there's peace, there's love over the other side. I can see it. Well, guess what? You've got to go down, wade through that mud, and sometimes you'll get stuck. Sometimes you will get stuck and you'll be like, oh my God, how do I even get over it? I don't know where I'm going. Do I go back? Do I go backwards? But you just know that if you was to go backwards, you're not going to get over to that other side. You're going to have to start all over again. Just stick with it. We're going to have times where you feel stuck, you feel lost, and when you're so used to or familiar with the person you've been for a very long time, sometimes saying goodbye to that version of you, it's like grief. It's like you're losing a part of yourself. And it's, even if it's parts of you that you don't want to feel anymore, you're so connected to that. It's such a familiar, it's such a comfort blanket, even if it's a toxic behaviour or a toxic relationship or a toxic environment, because it's all you've known for a very long time. You don't want to give it up. And it's like that temptation will come to just stay and take the easier option, but it's not the easier option, because you're just going to continue to live a life where you're not living to your full potential and your full happiness. So it's like, just remember that there is going to be a moment, almost like the caterpillar in the chrysalis to become the butterfly. There's that rest and stagnation and that void of, I don't know who I am anymore. I haven't really discovered who I am. Who am I? And it can be very lonely. It can be very hard. But as long as you always know, but this is for a greater good, a bigger purpose, it will come. I will realign with the correct people for me. I will get the right job for me. As long as you stay on that positive and reframe that, you will get there.
Oh, brilliant.
Just keep going with it.
Oh, thanks, Leanne. I think you've really opened my eyes up anyway to that thing of discovering yourself and looking more deeply. You know, people invest in lots of silly things, and you should invest in yourself, because that's going to project into the world.
100%.
So thank you for your time, and thanks to everyone watching. I'm sure you got a lot from it, and we'll see you next time on Welcome to the Human Experience.